Deputy Whitmore.
Thank you very much, Karen Corla. And I do want to acknowledge and thank the ministers for staying here for the whole debate. Oftentimes we'd have PMBs and the ministers wouldn't be in a position to stay for the whole thing. I want to refer to a comment that my colleague Deputy Gary Gannon said earlier on, and it really struck me, and that was, Minister, if I was sitting in your seat there and you were here and the current situation was happening, what would I hope that you would be doing? And what I would hope you would be doing is what we're doing, and that's raising it with you, jumping up and down, because I believe from your contribution and you know, from what I've heard of you say before, I don't believe that you think what happened is correct or right. And what we're trying to do is hold you to account on that, because there are failings and those people have been failed. And it's important, we have an important job here to do, and we're doing it today by raising it in the Dáil. I know it's really challenging, I know it's difficult. I would imagine that some days you wonder why you're doing it and how we are where we are. But we all have a role to play, and that's our role, is saying that actually you need to put a stop to this kind of treatment, and whether that's through you directly with the department or putting pressure on your government partners, because I do believe that that's where a large part of the problem lies. But as Minister, that is your role, and you know, hopefully we will see a change in how this is all laid out. The reason it's so incredibly important, and it's you know, I've been thinking about this a lot over the last few days. It's not just the issue of immigration, it's not just the issue of those men, it's not just the issue of making sure, which obviously is an incredibly important thing, that people's human rights are upheld. But this really, if we don't get this right, if you don't get this right, it is just going to create an Ireland that none of us ever would want to have seen. And there's a real risk for social cohesion. We have communities turning on each other at the moment. We're in a situation where people think that they can say, and actually they can quite freely say things and use words and slurs that would never, ever have been acceptable before. And I think, you know, we needed to really look outside. I mean, this has happened in other countries, and I think we missed an opportunity to look at other countries, to see what happened there, and to really double our efforts to make sure that it doesn't happen here. And unfortunately, we're past that point now. And I do understand, Karen Corla, your comments in relation to the discourse earlier on. But what I'm seeing now is that, whether online or in discussions, personal discussions with people, or indeed in this chamber, if misinformation is happening, there's a responsibility on each of us to call it out. And using words like open borders would imply that we have them, and we don't. So I think we do need to start talking about these things. When we hear people say unvetted men, we need to point out to them, no one is vetted. No one in this country is vetted unless they're working with children or vulnerable people. We need to start having those conversations with people, and it's hard, and I know because I've done it. Military-age men, you know, this is the kind of terminology that's just seeping into natural discourse. And if the silent majority, because I believe that most people don't want that here, if we don't talk and we don't push back, that becomes very, very normalised. And if on the floor of this Dáil we can have people here calling others, referring them to as loony, or, you know, completely disregarding EU law and essentially saying that there's no need for us as a state to apply this, I think there is a responsibility on each and every one of us to push back on that, because the risk is too high. It's way too high. And I don't know whether we're at that point of no return, but I think we have to absolutely do everything we can to try get on top of this and make sure that we don't go down that road any further. We need to treat people with respect, and that means everybody, and the state and its organs of the state need to do it as well. So look, we've laid out our position and our points, and I hope, Minister, that you'll take them on board, and I hope that you push back within your own government in instances where you feel that that's failing again. Thank you.